So say you want an omnidirectional antenna for tactical communications, what does that really mean? Or maybe it's just more generally an omnidirectional antenna that you think you need. And how do you go about choosing it? The answer is not that easy because there are a lot of different potential operational scenarios. The first question you might ask is, well, is the antenna for receive only? Is it for transmitting, maybe low or moderate or high levels of power? All of these things will influence the kind of antenna you choose. The number two thing would be, what platform will the antenna go on or mount to? There are antennas for handheld radios, man-pack radios, vehicle radios, tactical, portable kinds of situations, and also fixed sites. But there are also omnidirectional antennas that would go on naval, airborne, spacecraft platforms. So really, it's not a simple question to answer that what's the best omni antenna? Where's it going to go? Number three, the question would be, well, what frequency does it need to work over? And that's, could range anywhere from HF, which is very low kinds of numbers, single to tens of megahertz, all the way up to gigahertz level frequencies. So those will definitely influence a choice of an omnidirectional. And then if you're transmitting, you have to consider how much power the transmitter wants to put through the antenna and make sure that you have the antenna chosen properly for that amount of power that it may see. And also related to that is how well the antenna is matched, or what its so-called voltage standing wave ratio is, or VSWR. If the VSWR numbers are too high, the amplifier can be damaged. So it's something you have to take into account thinking about the radio with respect to the choice of antenna. And finally, what a lot of people would probably maybe think is more important, and number four, is what kind of gain and radiation characteristics are required for the antenna. So, the gain number is basically a measure of sensitivity, how well the antenna can translate electrical currents into radiating fields or vice versa. And radiation characteristics or directivity are also important. In an omnidirectional, you basically have an antenna that radiates similarly in all directions around the antenna. But there are two different types of antennas that are generally used as omnis. Those are dipole antennas and monopole antennas. And dipoles are very versatile and can be used pretty much anywhere. But monopole antennas require a ground plane or so-called counterpoise in order for them to work. And the characteristics of that ground plane are important in terms of how well the antenna will radiate. All of these kinds of considerations come into play when choosing an omnidirectional antenna. And if the desire is to have the optimal antenna for a particular situation, you really have to go and explore all of the different aspects of how that antenna is intended to be used and what kinds of concept of operations it is intended to support. Of course, if you have any questions along these lines or you want to find out more, you can certainly give me a ring or chat with me online, and we can go through the whole list of parameters and come up with the right solution for you.